The island's Environment Minister reports on the 3rd UN SEEDS conference. Government delivers on a promise made to the Despor community, and the Dominica Festivals Committee expects an increase in visitors to Dominica for the World Creole Music Festival. Thank you for joining us on another edition of National Focus. I'm Kimani.
And I'm Jarna Hector. Stay with us for details of the headline stories and others after this.
A lot of bathtubs are blamed for bruises. Some staircases are accused of being responsible for broken bones. Doors are occasionally viewed suspiciously as causing lesions. A high percentage of tables are accused of producing bleeding or trauma. Violence against women is a crime, and it's everyone's responsibility. It's inexcusable. If you're a victim or witness of physical or psychological violence or abuse, seek help and denounce the perpetrator.
Thanks for staying with us. Honorable Reuben Blackmore, parliamentary representative for the Mahu constituency, which includes Despor, told the House of Parliament back in August that development in his constituency was gaining momentum. Now, about a month later, Despor residents are seeing their MP turning words into action. On Tuesday, the Campbell Despor Village Council received a check for $325,000 for the complete overhaul of the Despor Main Road. The Finance Minister, Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt, delivered the check himself to the chairperson, Kerry Saint-Hilaire.
I have been to Despor before, not with you, but in other capacities and so forth. But I have been here Despor before. And I recall myself the condition of the road, the entire roadway. And the abandonment of communities across the country was not only in Despor, but across Dominica. When you look at the road network in the country today, and compared to 10, 15 years ago, we have come a very long way in improving the infrastructure of this country. And we were criticized heavily by the opposition for spending money on infrastructure. But we always said that for you to bring development to communities and to the country, you must address the country's infrastructure. You must fix the roads, and in places where there are no roads, you must construct roads in order for people to access lands, to build and to invest and to cultivate those very important lands.
Honorable Blackmore, in his statement to constituents, reflected on the history of that section of road.
I can recall when I became the Member of Parliament for the Mahu constituency, that where we are here today was a dirt road. Isn't that so, Henry? It was mud. That's what I meant. Swimming pool. Okay, swimming pool. Okay. And all the improvement you have seen to the road thus far have been done by the Dominica Labour Party and a Member of Parliament. And I said to you, by virtue of what we have done before, that we shall, at the right time, ensure that we finish the project. That is to say, you have at least 1 kilometer of road that is in a very deplorable stage, to the point to which I was advised, or was warned when I was there on Saturday, that school is reopening and the bus cannot drive down to the end of the village to carry our students. They have to walk up the hill every morning. It's a very, very, very terrible situation.
The nation's leader, Honorable Skerritt, reminded Despor and Campbell residents of the many unfulfilled promises made by previous MPs.
Sometimes politicians come and ask you to vote for them, and you do so willingly. with the expectation and the hope that they will work with you to improve your way of life. But sadly, we have seen power reps come to this part of this country to offer themselves as member of parliament. But the moment they get elected, you don't see them anymore. That has not been the case with Reuben Blackmore as a member of parliament. As a matter of fact, when he came here the first time in 2000 and he asked you to vote for him and you did not vote for him, you continue to see him coming in here and making representation on your behalf to the government at the time, notwithstanding the fact that he was not in cabinet or he was not in parliament.
The finance minister thanked residents for their patience and highlighted that with the delivery of this project, the economic benefits will be felt throughout the communities of Despor and Campbell, especially since manpower will come from that area. The Chief Technical Officer of the Ministry of Public Works, Kendall Johnson, described how the $325,000 will be spent.
The scope of works comprises the rehab of 1 kilometer. It's just under 3/4 miles of road. And we are going to be doing it in concrete. The steeper parts will be done in reinforced concrete for more durability. So we'll be doing the road pavement, 6 inches concrete, 15 feet wide, and the associated drainage. I mean, as we all know, Despor is an area that attracts a lot of moisture, a lot of water. And if we do not adequately deal with the drains, then the roads will be of little use to us. The works will be supervised, will be facilitated through the council, but the supervision of the works will be done by my department, by my ministry, the Ministry of Public Works. So accompanying the contractor's execution, we will have staff from the Technical Services Division doing the necessary supervision.
Prime Minister Skerrit promised to return to the area when work is underway. At a Campbell Despor Village Council meeting in August, Honorable Blackmore promised residents of that area that a link road from Despor to Campbell will be his main priority in his next term as constituency representative.
In more news, Dr. Kenneth Daru, the Honorable Minister for the Environment, is optimistic that Dominica will benefit from commitments made at the United Nations 3rd International Conference on Small Island Developing States held in Samoa from September 1st to 4th. The conference gave small island developing states, or SIDS, like Dominica, the opportunity to table matters of concern to them. The meeting also brought global attention to these concerns and the solutions the small islands have developed to meet those challenges. Honorable Daru, who represented Dominica at that conference, presented the island's issues as a small island state. The development of Dominica's geothermal energy resource and the effects of climate change were high on his agenda.
The whole issues of combating climate change, both adaptation and mitigation, was high on the agenda. There are the issues of sustainable development, sustainable jobs, our people, especially our what we like to term less fortunate people, our indigenous people. Issues of ocean governance. Of course, we know that with islands and with our maritime zones, etc. And issues sometimes disputes over maritime borders with neighboring islands, neighboring land masses was also high on the agenda. And also something that took a really sharp focus at the conference was the whole issue of renewable energy. The whole issue of developing our geothermal potential was also a major point of, because while we spend a lot of money in the exploration, etc., one has to consider the tremendous amount of capital that's going to be required, okay, to actually make this a reality, transfer all of this potential into actual energy for use, user-ready energy. So we talk about sustainable job. We know the issue of unemployment. Youth and unemployment also is a major issue, not just in Dominica, the rest of the Caribbean, worldwide. It's something that the young people also were given the opportunity to make their voice heard, and I think that's one of the issues that was raised. Okay, as I said, among others, the issue of food security, agriculture, and how all of this also link back to climate change, and how climate change is affecting a lot of this stuff.
Besides addressing the General Assembly, the minister and his delegation also dialogued on a bilateral level.
We also, I said, had a number of bilateral meetings with a number of countries like the Malaysians, the Bangladeshi, And all of these countries, the Italians also willing to help us or to look at our national agendas, especially as it pertains to our quest towards sustainable and renewable energy, well, namely geothermal. So right now it's up, now that the meetings have been and the commitment have been made, right now it's up to our representatives, for example, our UN ambassador in New York, okay, right now to follow up with a number of these commitments and to see how this can be translated into real projects and initiatives on the ground. Another important side meeting I also have was at the FAO, where we also looking to get some help in developing our aquaculture sector, which is a sector, of course, as Minister of Fisheries, I got paid special attention to it, which is a sector we think that can be developed to help to sustain to rather not sustain, but to add to our maritime fisheries sector.
The Samoa Pathway, which is the draft document on the outcome of the conference, holds the promise of nearly 300 partnerships between governments, businesses, and civil society organizations who will help small islands achieve sustainable developments. Over US $1.9 billion have been pledged. Honorable Daru is hopeful that developed countries will fulfill their commitments to developing countries in the Pacific, the Caribbean, Africa, and the Indian Ocean.
Coming out of it, I remain very optimistic that especially the developed world, of course, the pleas were made to some of the developed countries to meet up some of their commitments to small island developed states. The Green Fund, the Adaptation Fund, all of these millions and billions of dollars have been pledged over the years towards helping us combat climate change and sustainable economic development. And we've seen very few of these commitments being met. So, of course, the plea was made out there again to the developed community to start living up to the commitments they made to small island states like ours. Our case was well represented. I hope I did justice to it, and right now I think it's just up to us to continue to follow up on some of the commitments that were made to us, both at the bilateral level and also at the international level. Yeah.
Just recently, Dominica received funds from the European Union to assist the island in its exploration and production of geothermal energy. GIS News will bring you more from this exclusive interview in a subsequent newscast.
Chief Medical Officer Dr. David Johnson says training healthcare providers remains a top priority as it relates to the management of the Ebola virus. Dr. Johnson revealed that the Health Ministry has already begun implementing measures to protect citizens from the Ebola virus.
We have for some time now have the presence of, at our main port of entry, the presence of port health officers who liaise very closely with the immigration officers. And we have, as part of our plan, specifically for Ebola virus, we'll be stepping up with the presence of what we refer to as public health nurses at our port of entries. So that is part of what we are doing. They will be working very closely with immigration officers in terms of travelers who are coming from affected countries. But it's critical that we have moved in terms of training and retraining of our healthcare providers. We have conducted a number of educational sessions for our healthcare providers. Education session in terms of what is Ebola, how it is transmitted, and how it is managed. So we have worked closely with all of our healthcare providers, both in terms of our secondary care service at Prince Margaret Hospital, and also at our primary healthcare services in terms of training of these individuals.
Signs and symptoms of the deadly disease reportedly emerge from 2 days to 3 weeks after infection. These symptoms include high fever, headache, joint, muscle and abdominal pain, sore throat, lack of appetite, vomiting, diarrhea, and in severe cases, internal and external bleeding. Dr. Johnson indicated that healthcare providers are subject to a higher risk of infection, and thus infection control is vital for adequate protection.
It's important to use what we call stringent infection control measures, and more so what we refer to as personal protective equipment, or PPE. We have some of these, at least the type of personal protective equipment which our frontline healthcare providers we need to use for screening, possibly for screening for Ebola. We have at least 463 of those personal protective equipment in Dominica. We have had it for some time. We have had those personal protective equipment since the last outbreak that we had from H1N1. We are currently, as part of our plan, doing training and retraining for our healthcare providers in terms of the use of these personal equipment.
He noted the significance of public education in ensuring that the island's Ebola strategy is effective.
As part of our plan as well, part of our plan deals with public education because we're in a preparatory phase, and therefore a critical component of our plan is public education. We have indicated some weeks ago in terms of what we intend to do. We have been educating the public in terms of what Ebola virus is and what, in fact, the Ministry of Health is doing as it relates to Ebola virus. As part of our public education and plan, we are putting in place and should be launching very soon a hotline. That is where the general public can call in and ask whatever questions that they want with regards to Ebola virus. That number is going to be free to the general public, and we intend, once we have launched that hotline, to have it manned 24/7.
The Chief Medical Officer shared his advice for the general public.
I would like to advise the general public to remain calm. Yes, there's a lot of things going on cable television. They're following what's going on the television. They're following what's going on social media, and they're seeing a lot of bad images in terms of what is happening in West African countries. And I don't think the public should try to extrapolate all of that and think that this is going to be the situation. This is going to be the situation in Dominica. I think the Dominican population is a very educated population. They have been working very closely with the Ministry of Health to manage all sorts of outbreaks that we have had in the past.
He noted that the disease is not airborne and, though deadly, only direct contact with infected fluids spreads the virus. He encourages the nation to continue to be cautious but not unduly alarmed.
The World Creole Music Festival is expecting more visitors for this year's festival. Recent partnerships have caused the World Creole Music Festival promoter Leroy Waddix Charles to make that statement. Charles announced at a press conference on Tuesday that one airline in particular, Winair, is partnering to facilitate more visitors into Dominica for the 18th edition of the festival.
We have forged relationships with Winair, and we had the ability to speak to the management of Winair, and they have at least special fares as we speak, cheapest around less than $300 to Dominica return. And they have also embarked on a fare from Guadeloupe to Dominica, which is very comfortable, and it is also very competitive with the available fare from boat to Dominica. So that's the partnerships. They have also given us the special, and this is very unique. They have told us on no uncertain terms, as long as the schedule flights are booked, they are willing to increase. And this is special to us because we know our limitations in terms of air access. So we had that special relationship being endorsed in St. Martin. And what we further did is we went on to the travel planners, those doing the bookings, and we encouraged them. We gave them a feel of the lineup, a history of the festival, and we encouraged them to move across to the clientele, to go to their website, and to include Dominica and the World Creole Music Festival, and they have all agreed to do so. So I can guarantee you here that we're going to see an increase in patronage from French and Dutch St. Martin and also Anguilla.
Charles says the festival is unique to the Caribbean and the world, and Dominicans should feel proud and sell it to others around the world.
This is the only unique festival in the region where Caribbean people can feel part something that belongs to them. And it's now up to us now to follow up because they want to be part of it. They requested to be part of it. And it's just up at DFC now to sort of reap these dividends and wait and embrace ourselves, Dominica, for the flow which will be coming from Sunshine to the St. Martin, both the Dutch and the French, and also Anguilla. Let us continue to own this festival because it belongs to us. We don't have any fascinating nightlife and skyscrapers, but we have a peace and tranquility and that space where we can have a homegrown, a 100% production of Dominica. This is 100% produced, by the way, and has been from its inception by Dominicans. The functional areas are manned by strictly Dominicans. So we need to embrace it and continue to allow the multitudes to come down or continue to inject the whole Creole feeling into our people.
The festival will present over 10 genres of music from artists including Hector, Despor, Corinne Dubois, Class, Elvis Crespo, and Frankie Vincent, among others. The government of Dominica is the main sponsor of the World Creole Music Festival.
And finally, every year on October 15, the world celebrates the work of rural women. International Day of Rural Women, or World Rural Women's Day, was first observed and officially declared by the United Nations in 2008. It promotes the importance of women in enhancing agricultural and rural development worldwide and signifies that women play a critical role in the economies of developing countries. Rural women play an integral role in crop production and livestock care. They also provide food, water, and fuel for their families while engaging in activities off the farm to diversify their families' livelihoods. In addition, rural women carry out vital functions by caring for children, older persons, and the sick. According to the United Nations General Assembly, World Rural Women's Day recognizes, quote, the critical role and contribution of rural women, including indigenous women, in enhancing agricultural and rural development, improving food security, and eradicating rural poverty, end of quote. To observe the occasion, the Bureau of Gender Affairs has planned a culinary and art exposition for this Sunday, October 12, 2014, in La Plaine. The event is themed Inspiring Change, Creating Opportunities for Rural Women. Women across Dominica are encouraged to participate in the event. Registration forms are available at all village councils and also at the Office of the Bureau of Gender Affairs. The deadline for registration is September 19. GIS will bring you more details on this story as it unfolds.
Before we leave, here's an announcement from the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry. Several vacancies exist at the newly constructed coffee plant in 1 Mile Portsmouth. These vacancies are Plant Manager, Project Coordinator, Human Resource Manager, Marketing and Sales Coordinator, Accounting Supervisor, Quality Assurance Analyst, Maintenance Technician, Administrative Secretary, Green Coffee Operator, Roasting and Grinding Operator, Packing Operator, Casual Workers, and Salesperson. Applications should be addressed to Mr. Harold Geist, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry. The deadline for receipt of applications is September 26th. For more details, view the full announcement on news.gov.dm or our GIS Dominica Facebook page. You can also contact the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry. And that's the English news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Louis. Premièrement, ministre commodité tapé service en consultant pour assister yo sur un bon standard pour produire qui est passé en Parkhouse Dominique. Parole celle-là sortie du ministre commodité, Honorable Dr. John Colin McIntyre.
Ça nous fait un Ministry of Employment Trade. Nous actuellement nous avons levé toute qualité facilité nous à Dominique. Vous savez, des 3 années qui passent, nous avons tapé l'argent, nous faisons ça qui est en Parkhouse. nous ni Yona Roseau, nous Yona Portsmouth. Nous ça nous kay faire nous top your consultant pour aider nous pour faire nous savent qui qualité instrument, qualité equipment donné pour gagner pour mettre à ces places comme si là où mettez dachino, là où mettez figo, plantain, tamados, toute qualité produit hodam pima. Isa tué ada pakosa. Isa descend avec moun ka gade comme si bon si pas bon si gonse à bord si pas ni plastic blemish avec nous ka sortler nous ka gridler nous ka mettre en boîte et puis premier package nous ka fait là avec nous ka mettre un stamp et puis là nous mettre stamp ça ada produit ça nous ça ici en first class quality et puis ça les n'importe place pas pour dire yon ne bobo là yon ka match l'on tout là passer by ça on ka parler code by qui ça tuer n'importe place et puis à la terre comme si il savent because il y a bonne qualité so consultants et puis nous et ministry of trade so qui travaille et puis pack house là qui gaba Dexter nous qui changer italien.
En notre nouvelle, l'Office des As Dominica conduit programme éducation qui concerne le projet des As en Dominique. Parole celle-là sortie de l'officier programme l'Office des As Steve Joseph.
Nous avons des gens locaux, young moun hot community Guantas même, il déjà en bagaille des As Wayne Abraham et monsieur Richards. Clement Richards qui déjà travaille avec l'office là. UNDP déjà parlé avec eux pour travailler à ces projets local avec Office Disaster Management. Avec nous regional consultant qui travaille à ces projets là. So nous avons développé différents matériels comme brochure, comme poster, différents matériels, website, Facebook page, différents bagages comme ça pour faire moun connaître qui projet ça là quand implémenté et va bénéficier.
Et puis, promotion pour Festival Creole Mondial l'année 2014 pour place en Sainte-Martine. Parole ça là sorti officier DFC Leroy Wadix Charles.
Nous sortis Saint-Martin et puis Anguilla et c'était vraiment très bien parce que Saint-Martin c'est Dutch avec français aussi. Nous parlons avec ces différents radios, télévision, presse, tout ça. Et ces monde-là étaient très contents nous t'es arrivé côté yo. Et ils ont décidé de descendre dans le festival là parce que le programme là l'année là ça yo très content yo aimé programme là et est toute qualité bon artistes comme Francky Vincent comme Arisso Doyen de Chictaï comme Elvis Crespo et Jackio et Class et aussi Tabo Combo et aussi T-Vice ça yo dit nous yo très content pour programme là nous fait l'année là ça et ça nous fait nous tenir un grand meeting avec Win Air et ça a décidé de mettre un prix pour moun descendre à Dominique c'est moins de $300 US pour descendre à Dominique et ils ont décidé depuis tous ces vols là ils ont plein ils ont mis d'autres vols à ce festival là et nous très contents pour ça parce qu'il y a un pile dominicain nous voit à Saint-Martin, ils ont décidé qu'ils voulaient descendre pour le festival là parce que là ça très important et intéressé pour eux.
Promotion aussi pour place à Anguilla.
Pour la première fois, nous allons à Anguilla et nous parler avec des différents radios là. Et ces gens-là sont très contents aussi parce qu'à Anguilla, nous avons pile différents Dominicains. Nous voyons aussi à notre section meet and greet. Et ils disent nous comment ils sont contents de venir à Anguilla. Et ils ont descendu pour le festival l'année là. Ça c'est le 24, le 25 et le 26 octobre 2014.
Et puis finalement, Discover Dominica Authority conduit session trainement pour les gens qui sont engagés en industrie touriste là. Trainement là, targeté moun taxi, hair breeders, tour guides et puis weavers. C'est le chef département la place Didier Kathleen Coffee. Trainement là, c'était pour avancer qualité service. C'est moun ça là qui a fait provision industrie touriste là. Coffee aussi mentionné trainement qui OES qui a financé, qui a targeté craft pays là. Collaboration Dominique en parmi plaisir d'autres en Caraïbes où la Dominique bénéficie $40,000 US. Trainement là qui commençait, qui continue en Baran Oti, semaine salam, et puis facilité dans Yel Scara, Bolivia. Kofi aussi fait parole, que cette initiative là, c'est pour taper plus de touristes visiter le pays. Discover Dominica Authority déjà traîné à peu près 100 avec 91 personnes en industrie touriste là. Et aussi qui continue en effort là. Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour Nouvelle Creole pour à présent. Non, moi, c'est McPherson St. Louis. Au revoir.
Coming up next, eating for better vision.
DOWASCO recognizes that clean water is vital to healthy living. Therefore, it spares no effort in providing a clean, safe, and reliable system. Help keep our rivers safe and clean. Do not cut trees along the river banks and do not pollute with garbage, human or animal feces, and chemicals. Think water, think life.
Kimani, did you know that better vision starts with the food that you eat?
Well, I knew a little of this, but perhaps you can teach me more.
Yes, our tip has all these details. Protecting your eyes starts with the food on your plate. Studies show that nutrients such as omega-3 fatty acids, lutein, zinc, and vitamins C and E might help ward off your vision problems.
A well-balanced diet also helps you maintain a healthy weight, which makes you less likely to get obesity-related diseases such as type 2 diabetes, which is the leading cause of blindness in adults.
Did you learn something new?
I learned something new.
And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm.
Like us, our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Kimani
And I'm Jarna Hector. Thank you for watching and join us again next time on National Focus.